graffiti is a way into the world of the ordinary man and woman in the historic period. We're getting their lives represented through their own initials and dates and names, but also we're getting something of their hopes and their fears and desires, because they're showing us that they're having anxieties about certain aspects of life, because we're seeing graffiti which is connected to ritual protection. Well, my name's James Wright and I'm a buildings archaeologist. I've been a buildings archaeologist for about 2 decades or thereabouts, and that means basically I record historic standing buildings. So when we're recording graffiti, we use something called the raking light technique, which is casting a torchlight at an angle over the timbers of the mill, and essentially that brings up shadows, because a lot of this graffiti is very lightly inscribed into the walls, and it just gives us a much greater depth of vision, so we can actually see the graffiti, and then we can point a camera at the graffiti, take a photograph of it, fill in some paperwork, go away, and we can start to statistically model that graffiti in the building, start to understand it through analysis. So at the moment I'm working in near darkness because the sunlight coming in obscures the graffiti, and it's so much easier to see this in darkness. So quite often if we're in very light buildings, we'll actually go and survey them at night, or we'll try and close down all the windows as much as we can so we can see the very lightly inscribed graffiti. We have found a substantial amount of graffiti whilst working here today. A lot of it is reflective of the millers who were active here in the 18th, 19th century, and we're seeing them putting their initials, their names and their dates on the walls. They're obviously quite proud to be working here, and that's illuminative because we do actually have some of them surviving in the historic records of the mill and of the village as well. So it's nice to be able to tie down the individuals physically through the graffiti to the documentary record as well. So we're getting layers of history there, but we're also finding out something about their hopes and their fears, their desires, potentially as well, because quite a lot of the graffiti in this building is what we would call apotropaic graffiti. So this is graffiti which is intended to encourage good luck, whilst maybe also warding away bad luck from a building, potentially also connected to driving away evil spirits, witches, demons, that kind of thing as well. And here we're seeing things like compass drawn circular designs, rosette patterns, and also a large proportion of burn marks as well, and they're usually about so high, and it's where somebody's taken a taper to the building, to the timber, and burnt it a little bit. It takes about 10, 15, 20 minutes to create these burn marks. It's deliberate human behaviour. It's not accidental lights which have accidentally burnt the timber. Instead, what they're doing is they're trying to inoculate the building so that the building doesn't go up in massive conflagration. If you burn it just a little bit, if you burn your building just a little bit, then it might make it safe. They were very afraid of lightning, and there was very clear connections between witches, evil spirits, and lightning, i.e. setting fire to buildings. And these burn marks are probably reflective of protection for the building against lightning strikes. So this is a really nice example of some of the graffiti in the building. What we've got here is W. Smith, who's the miller in the 19th century. He's one of the 19th century millers, and he's actually put his name, his occupation, the date, and also a little illustration of Kibworth Harcourt post mill itself. One of the really interesting inscriptions in the building is this one here, which is Daniel Hutchinson, who was the miller 1711. The reason this is particularly interesting is because it's one of the earliest dates in the building. In fact, it is the earliest date, but it predates the structure that I'm actually stood within. So this post that it's on, which is the central post of the mill, comes from an earlier building, and it's reused here, and then the structure that goes around it is added later in the 18th century. So we've got an early miller on an early post. So what we've got here is one of those ritual burn marks where somebody's applied a taper to the building for maybe 10-15 minutes and deliberately scorched into the timber of the central post. And it's there to ward away bad luck from the building. Hopefully the building wouldn't be torched by lightning which caught it, which must have been quite common with mills in the past. So there's lots of different types of graffiti represented in this building, and it's a way into those worlds in the historic moment.